Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second session of Best Practices in Social Emotional Arts, part of our inaugural Midweek Mastery Series. I'm Heidi Parker. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Community Initiatives Manager here at the Arts and Healing Initiative, and I am your Zoom host today. This series highlights our online certificate program in social emotional arts, a 60-hour online training maximizing the social emotional benefits of arts experiences in the discipline of art, dance movement, drumming, music, poetry, writing, and theater. We developed the Midweek Mastery Series in response to feedback from our community, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and overall experience in the post-session survey. Today's program is in a meeting format, so please keep yourself muted until prompted otherwise. We are recording today's session in speaker view to be shared on our YouTube channel, and you are welcome to leave your cameras on as you feel comfortable. We'd love for you to actively participate. Our session today is scheduled for 1 hour, and feel free to add questions in the chat as they arise or use the raise hand function. Before we begin, we would like to start by acknowledging the Tongva Nation, on whose land the city of Los Angeles, where we are based, rests today. We hold respect and gratitude for the Tongva people who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. And by their example, we are reminded of our responsibility to our planet and to one another. So let's take a moment in our own way to honor the indigenous communities of past and present on whose land you are joining from today. And feel free to honor those communities where you are joining from in the chat. I will now turn the session over to Ping Ho, our founder and director, to provide a roadmap for our journey together today and to introduce our instructors.
Thank you so much, Heidi. So this is going to be an experiential professional development process. We encourage you to note what makes you feel welcome to participate and what makes you feel resilient or connected. So many of us experience resistance to arts participation due to lingering self-judgment from earlier life experiences or residual beliefs that there's a right way to express oneself creatively. In order to maximize the potential benefits of being seen and heard through the arts process, we need to maximize the supportiveness of that process. So today's team will present their culminating project in our certificate program in social emotional arts, and will explain the context of their session at the top. Here are some things to observe during their presentation: expression of vulnerability, community agreements to create a comfortable space for sharing, the encouragement to honor your needs and preferences, clarity of intentions for the activities, offering options for participation, demonstrating or modeling of the activities, a warm-up with accessible sharing, reminders to focus on the process and not the product, to remember that there's no wrong way to express oneself creatively, normalizing and validating feelings, pointing out that feelings are common to all of us, checking in and inviting questions, inclusiveness. For example, talking about a mother figure in one's life, if one doesn't have an actual mother that one wants to write about. Non-judgmental language throughout, supportive teamwork, and then there are the benefits of the activities themselves for resilience and connection. So I will now pass the baton to our presenters, who will introduce themselves as part of the process. They'll begin by briefly explaining the target population and the goals at the top of the session.
Hi, everybody. So this demo is being done today by myself, Shauna, and Sarah, and we are the Revolutionary Mothers. This workshop was created with Black mothers in mind in their early postpartum period. It is designed to be a one-off workshop. The social emotional learning objectives that we are covering are listening and sharing, connecting through shared experience, and developing coping strategies. The only materials that you're going to need today are paper and something to write with. So we will begin. Hi again, everybody. I want to start by saying thank you so much for being here today. We are honored to share this space with you. And a little bit about me. In 2020, like so many other people, I found my world completely turned upside down. In a single week, I found out I was pregnant, which was a surprise. I was laid off from my job due to COVID, which left me with expiring health insurance. And the lockdowns took effect, which left me navigating pregnancy in downtown LA, very isolated. So, desperate to make sense of this new world, I turned to academics and theory. And I sought out Dr. Sophie Brock, who holds her PhD in motherhood studies. And under her mentorship, I spent several years studying the sociological and cultural systems that make up motherhood. And they brought me to an understanding in my own mothering, and art has really helped me to facilitate that healing journey. So, using that social context and my training with the UCLA Arts and Healing Initiative, I help mothers to reframe their relationship to their own mothering. And I'm going to pass this to Shauna to introduce herself.
Thank you, Grace. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Shauna Beauchamp, and my pronouns are she, they. I am comfortable with all pronouns, but those are the ones that usually come up. I have a background in theater arts, and I work at the intersection of health, education, and the arts. I've worked professionally as a storyteller, as a director, as a performer for the past 20 years. And I truthfully, deep down in my heart, believe that the arts have an innate way to heal ourselves and to heal our communities. So thank you so much for being here today, and we'll pass it over to Sarah.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, just a little bit about me. My name is Sarah Mae Taylor. I'm a visual artist and an educator and a healing arts practitioner. And I'm really interested in the ways that art can be used as a way to connect us back to ourselves and also to other people. I have a background in media, fine art, and mental health and wellness practices. And the constant mothering of myself and everybody in my community is something that is really important to my life and also to my work. And as we were putting this workshop together, I thought a lot about all of the different mother figures in my life and also my own need for self-care practices. So I'm really glad to be here with everybody. And I also want to say that it's important to me that today be as free-flowing and interactive as possible. So if you feel like you want to unmute yourself and share something, if you have a question, or if you want to just type something into the chat, I would really love to hear your voices and I welcome you. So why don't we jump in? Heidi, if you wouldn't mind putting up our class agreements, we can take a look at it. Let's start with practicing kindness and non-judgment and hopefully creating some compassionate listening for one another. The next one is acknowledging our feelings and those of others and making room for mistakes. You know, we're in this virtual community together, but sometimes that means that we have to hold that extra space. The next one is about holding the confidence that whatever is shared here is going to stay here. Heidi already mentioned that, for instance, this is going to be recorded. So if there's something that you feel like you don't want to be living online, just a reminder for that. The next one is about practicing self-care as needed. This is obviously a virtual circle, so sometimes it's not as welcoming to be speaking to a bunch of Black squares, but also I really just want to encourage everybody to do what they need to do for themselves. So if you need to take a break, turn off your camera, do your thing. Next slide, please. This is some definite C language that I think about. It's about being prepared to work out of your comfort zone from within your comfort zone. So it would be wonderful if this could be a workshop in which you could stretch yourself, but also please take care not to bring yourself to a place that you can't safely come back from. The next one is about, having those reflections for yourself. Maybe make a list of any affirmations, apologies, or appreciations, and hopefully at the end we'll have extra time to share those. The last one is about trusting yourself, which I think is echoed in all of the agreements. And we have a symbolic empty square here intentionally. Now would be a really great time to begin hearing your voices. If there's anything that you feel like needs to be included in our agreements, I would really love to hear about that now. And if you don't want to, speak it out with your voice, you can go ahead and add that to the chat. And this can be an ongoing thing. It can come up throughout the hour. So if there's nothing to add at the moment, we can continue on. Let's take a look at today's agenda. We have already begun with our intros and objectives. We are going to be exploring the power of rhythmic drumming. And then after that, Grace is going to be taking us through a writing exercise with poetry. And then Shauna is going to be exploring some havening touch techniques that we hope you're going to be able to take home and put into your own toolkit. So all of these things were developed, in the interest of, or in the inspiration from mothers of color, but these are things that we think everybody can benefit from, and they're helpful resources for you to take with you. Okay, thank you. So if we're ready, we can just continue with our intros. We've already spoke, I've been talking, but we can't really finish our intros unless we get to hear from you as well. So it would be wonderful if anybody wants to unmute themselves right now and just share, your name, your pronouns, and maybe just one word that describes how you're feeling today. I can start. Sarah May. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to use, exhilarated. And go ahead, if you want to just put into the chat. I know we sort of started our intros, but if you want to offer something, I'd love to hear from you.
And I can jump in while folks are thinking about the word. My name is Shauna Beauchamp, she, they, and I am feeling excitement.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Daniela Davis, pronouns she and her, and I'm feeling excited as well to see what I'm going to learn today.
Nice, thank you so much.
Well, I'm on camera, so I'm Ping Ho, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am also feeling excited.
Nice, thank you for that, Ping. Shell, Bird added, feeling curious. I like that. Curiosity is a good thing. Veronica also saying curious. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so let's move on to our first activity. This is our rhythmic community circle. So, I have a drum here, and I just want to say, first of all, I really enjoy this practice. It's become pretty familiar in my house. However, I'm not a drummer, so don't be intimidated by that. But essentially, we are just going to use our drum to just have 30 seconds together to ground ourselves and breathe together. So some people, as they're participating, they like to sway. Some people like to close their eyes. Some people also like to use their own arms and drum on their chest or on their legs, or you can just, check it out, whatever you want to do. I want to experiment right now and just make sure that you can all hear my drum. Can you hear this? Can I have a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. So whatever you need to do, swaying, eyes open, eyes closed, 30 seconds, here we go. short and sweet. I would love to hear, especially for those of us who felt curious, as soon as I brought out the drum, I'm sure some people got a little bit scared. I want to know how that was. Do you feel the same? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed? Do you feel a little bit more connected? How are you all doing? Daniela, I feel more grounded. I love that. That's how I feel. So I've been using my drum a lot to breathe, especially for me, I'm a person who has a hard time breathing into my stomach. So that's something that with practice, I've been noticing is getting a little bit easier for me. And also sometimes, when you don't have a drum, breathing on your body, drumming on your own body with your breath can be really helpful. Durga, same, much more grounded. Thank you. Maria, the drumming took me to my safe haven. I love that so much. And that's actually, that's selfishly, I wanted to bring my own safe haven into the room for us today because that's my place too. So I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Maria. Elizabeth, I saw some colors when I closed my eyes, purple and blue. Nice. That's beautiful. Shell, centering. Okay, this is wonderful. I love it. So I hope that in your breathing practice, if you have a breathing practice, my own drumming with my breath is a practice that I developed as kind of like an emergent strategy so that I could sort of like deal with a lot of my own self-regulation. So I hope this is something that you can all keep in mind for you. Okay, let's move along to the next activity. Grace is going to lead us into some poetry.
Thank you, Sarah, for grounding us into this communal space. I also, before I start, just want to acknowledge that I am just getting over strep throat. So if I go on mute for a second, I am practicing my own self-care and coughing silently and drinking water. So thank you guys for understanding that. And I want to bring back up our community agreements, in particular, practicing kindness and non-judgment. So that includes kindness to self and not judging your writing or what may come up during this process. What I find very helpful is to look at this as an opportunity to practice and nurture self-acceptance amongst a group of people who very likely share in some of your own experiences. We are all in this together at this point, so take comfort in that as we move forward. So here's how this process is going to look. I'm going to read our poem 2 times, and then we're going to move into writing and sharing. When I read the poem the first time, I just ask that you hear it, no judgment, no trying to understand it, just take it in. The second reading, I ask that you listen, and as lines are read, make note of anything that stands out or resonates with you. Again, don't feel like you need to interpret or understand the poem. We don't have the author here to ask what they meant when they wrote it, and that really doesn't serve our purposes today. There's no right answer, just what's true for you. So Heidi, could you please pull up slide 5? Perfect, with our poem. Again, first reading, just go ahead and hear it. It might be helpful to close your eyes for the first reading if that's comfortable. Adrienne Maree Brown, My Mother Loves, an excerpt. My mother loves me. My mother shows me. I am meant to be loved whole. My mother loves the wild world through my heart. Others call on her gift and she gives her calling. What the world wants to bury in me, my mother unearths. She celebrates every cell, holds her heart for every song. Her voice gathers me into this world. Second reading, feel free to make notes of anything that hits you. My mother loves me. My mother shows me. I am meant to be loved whole. My mother loves the wild world through my heart. Others call on her gift, and she gives her calling. What the world wants to bury in me, my mother unearths. She celebrates every cell, holds her heart for every song. Her voice gathers me into this world. I'm going to give everyone just a moment to sit with that. Okay, and in a moment, we are going to move into writing. Just a little bit of guidance before we begin. This isn't a writing class, so let go of the critic, let go of the good bad binary. We are here to connect to our inner world and give voice to what we're feeling. We're here to explore. I also recognize that for some, even the word poem might feel intimidating. If that's true for you, you always have the option to free write. And even at that, some of us may not be familiar with all of the technical forms of poetry. So for the sake of this workshop, we can honestly use the word poem very loosely. There are going to be 2 prompts to choose from, and we will have 10 minutes to write. You can write using any poetic form that you're comfortable in, or you can free write, as I said, if that's more comfortable for you. If you finish before the 10 minutes are up, please feel free to go back through your writing, circle, underline anything that stands out to you, and you can take whatever you circled and underlined and possibly use that as a jump off point to expand into a second piece and dive down a little bit more into your feelings. Or as another option, you can choose, if you free wrote, to maybe challenge yourself to try to give that some poetic form. So take your choices on that one. I am going to paste into the chat box our writing prompts. And so you can use these, use this as a reference during the 10 minutes. And Heidi, if you could pull up the next slide, that will also have the 2 writing prompts with jump off lines to help get you started. When we have 5 minutes left, I will let everybody know. When we have 1 minute left, I will let you guys know. And then we'll all come back together and move into sharing. So just remember, give yourself permission to go where you need to go today, and compassion so that you can have the experience that you need. If you need any additional support, if you have questions or need clarification during the 10 minutes, we're all here for you. So feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Before I start the timer, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to address now or need anything clarified? Okay, perfect. I'm going to start our timer. We have 10 minutes. We will see you guys soon. Right, and that is time on our writing section. So we are going to move into sharing in a moment. This is a time for those of you that wish to share to hear yourself and reflect on your own insights. It's also an opportunity to validate others by way of witnessing their experience. So if you hear something that is shared and it resonates, I invite you. Oh, we have a question. Let me go ahead and take that really quick and then we'll go on. Veronica?
Sorry, no, it's not a question. I just wanted to
Oh,
share.
I'm sorry.
So
Oh,
you can finish.
yes, please. Okay, I'll have you share first then in just a moment. Thank you so much for jumping in though and volunteering. I really appreciate it. So I'll wrap up what I'm saying, and then Veronica, I would love to hear from you. I was just going to say that if you hear something that's shared that resonates, please feel free. I invite you to pop that into the chat. Just remember our agreement of loving kindness and non-judgment. Only validating feedback, appreciations, and acknowledgements. We're not here to critique or give advice today. So thank you, everybody. And I think okay, I don't want to cut anybody off, but I know we have an abbreviated session today. Veronica, Daniela, thank you for sharing. I acknowledge and appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable today. Thank you to everybody in the room for witnessing them. If you want to share and you didn't get the opportunity to say, please feel free to put something into the chat box. It's very likely that somebody here would connect to your own experience, share in your feelings, and likely feel grateful for your vulnerability and being willing to put yourself out there like that. So thank you all. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Shauna, who's going to be offering us a coping tool and bringing us all back to center.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing in the chat, Shellbird. Paint my face in Team Colors way. That really stood out for me in your work. And thank you to all who shared. And please continue to share. So this may or may not have brought up a variety of emotions for us. Yes, I am a revolutionary mother. Yes, you are. So we wanted to do some regulation tools. But before we do, we want to affirm ourselves. So if we could please put up the slide here. It may be challenging sometimes for us to look at ourselves and say nice things. It could be challenging for many. So right now, I want to just take a moment. And I would love for you to just take a moment and either to yourself or in the chat, or if you'd like to speak it aloud, whatever you prefer, finish this sentence. My favorite thing about myself is. Yeah, my favorite thing about myself is. What is your favorite thing? And as you do this, I would love for you to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a dear and loving friend. So take a little time, think about that. I think for me, my favorite thing about myself is that I am brave and honest. So that does feel vulnerable for me to share. What about you? So feel free to share in the chat or just take a moment here for yourself, but please write it on a piece of paper because we will be coming back to it. So I'll just give everybody a quick moment. All right. Anyone need any more time? Loyal and loving. Yes, you are. Thank you for sharing. Cool. All right. I'm going to go ahead and you can keep thinking about this, but I'm going to go ahead and teach you a technique called havening. I care with everything that I have. Yes, you do. So havening is as in making a safe haven for your body. That came up today. So for some people who have experienced PTSD, they can use this technique to feel safe within their own body. And also if emotions come up like into our amygdala where our emotions live, our fear response also lives there. And some of these techniques can calm that fear response and calm that amygdala. Resilient and creative. Yes, you are. So for this technique, if you have glasses on, go ahead and remove them. It's a nice, simple technique, but you'll just grab your fingertips here and you'll rub them along your brow and underneath your eyes. That's the first move, just over your brows and keep it swirling under your eyes. Now you want to make sure you're breathing, take nice, deep, delicious breaths. And try different pressures. Maybe try a nice light pressure, see how that feels. What happens if you go a little firmer? Find the pressure that feels right to you. And keep breathing. And then the second step, and we can go ahead and get rid of that slide whenever you're ready. Thank you so much. The second step is we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of a hug. We're going to use some cross-body stimulation, and we're going to push our arms all the way down, our hands to our wrist. And you can come back up. We're going to go up and down just a few times as we sit and we breathe. Good. And find different pressure. Maybe you like some gentle squeezes. Maybe you like it really light. Just go ahead and feel what this feels like in your body. And acknowledge if your body needs something different. And then the final step is we're just going to rub our hands together like they're washing them under the sink, front and back. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Good. Try different pressures, try different ways, and breathe. So that is havening. And let's go ahead and do all 3 steps together. So we'll breathe in through our eyes. We'll exhale. Bring it all the way down to our hands. And let's go again. Breathe in and out. And go at your own pace. I'm cueing, but you do whatever feels right to you. One more time. Breathe in and let it go. I'm going to offer some squeezes right now because that feels good to me. Wonderful. So you can take that activity anytime during your day when you might be feeling dysregulated. But what I want to do now is I want to combine this activity with our affirmation activity. So I'm seeing here resilient and creative, that I care with everything I have. And many of you who have your private affirmations, I want you to just acknowledge that word or phrase. And we're going to take some time and we're going to haven with that phrase. So it'll look like, and you can do it in whatever step you vibe with, whatever breathing you want. Oh, wonderful, having deepened and regulated my breath. How wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to say, I am brave and I am honest, and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to haven and I'm going to say, I am brave and I am honest, and I'm going to speak to myself like I would to a dear friend, hold myself gently. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my sound, but I'm going to give you just a moment to haven, breathe, and speak those words to yourself. All right, go ahead. Wherever you are, just give yourself one lovely, luscious last round. Give your body a little bit of a shake, just a little nice shake. Yeah, I'm on purpose and I am unafraid. Yes, you are. So thank you for doing that activity with me. Again, that activity is called havening. And I want to thank you all so much for either sharing or for just doing that activity from the place that you feel comfortable. Oh, wonderful. And I'm curious if there's any thoughts about that activity, anything that came up for you that you'd like to share, no pressure to share, but we would love to hear from you. Feel free. I'll make a little space. A lot of emotion came up with that activity. Thank you. And thank you for allowing the emotion to flow. That can often be challenging. Okay. All right. So we are wanting to just check in with yourself now. We'll go ahead and do a little bit of drumming to close us out, and then we'll do a little bit of an emotional check-in. I see quiets the mind. I'm actually wondering, why don't we do it now? If anybody feels comfortable speaking, what's one word about that identifies how you're feeling now? We talked about it at the beginning. I was feeling excited. Where are you now? I am feeling grateful. Love to hear your voice or to see it in the chat, or if you want to just speak that to yourself, that's absolutely fine. But I'd love to hear from y'all. Feeling held. What a feeling. Wonderful. That safe haven feeling. Sad. Sadness comes up. Content. Relaxed. Connected to others here. Lovely to connect with you. Content. Empowered. And we're all going to feel different emotions, and they are all 100% valid. So thank you so much for sharing. So now we'll close out. We began with drums. We will end with drums. And oh my gosh, I need to do, pardon me, I need to do a technical thing I always forget about so that you can hear my drum. One moment. All right. Sorry, original sound for musicians. Okay, thank you for being patient with me as I found my little button. And I believe it needs to be off. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So let's take a little time. We are all feeling different things. Can everybody hear my drum okay? Nope. Okay. Let's push the button again. Can you hear it now? Okay. We're all feeling different things, and everything is 100% valid. So let's just go ahead and take a little bit of time to breathe as a community, to breathe one more time as a big, deep, loving community. You can have your hand just gently pat on your body if you like. You can pat your lap, or you can just sit and sway and breathe along. There is no right way to breathe, so go ahead and breathe however you like. I will offer some inhales and exhales. You're welcome to do them or to go your own way. All right. Here we go. All right. Good. Get comfortable and breathe in and hold and let it go. I'm going to go a little faster. Breathe in and hold and let it go. Really let something go if you can. Last one. Breathe in and hold and let it go. All right. Thank you, everyone. That is the end of our time together. I am seeing words like inspired. I am seeing words validating the feeling of sadness, and I would like to validate that too. So we'll close up today. We have about 5 minutes left. Want to thank you for being in here with us and pass it back over to Ping. But I myself would love to thank you for spending time with us and Grace and Sarah today. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you to the three of you for a very rich and supportive experience. So I would like to ask any of you in the room today, if you have any questions, and if not, I actually have a question for the three presenters today about their experience using this kind of work in the community. Does anyone have any question they would like to ask? You can raise your hand or just put yourself on camera so we can see you, or you can ask it in the chat bar if you have a question. Okay, well, let me ask the three of you, have any of you tried using some of these tools in the community or similar tools? And what kinds of outcomes did you witness? What was the experience for you?
I'd be happy to share first, King, and thank you for asking. So I've been facilitating poetry circles specifically for mothers for the past 6 months. So I have gotten an opportunity to practice these skills a lot. And I think the one that has had the most impact is the language that you guys taught us. And it has helped, especially with mothers who are can feel a lot of guilt, shame, judgment around feelings that maybe aren't all shiny, happy maternal bliss. Being able to validate them when they share something vulnerable and receive it has been a skill that was developed through the language that you guys offered. So that's been a huge one for me.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I want to actually close by saying that I attended a dialogue between two leading trauma experts, Peter Levine and Bessel van der Kolk. And what they said was really inspiring, which is that they were noting that there's trauma and then there's resilience, and that the mental health world has been very well trained in assessing trauma, and they don't tend to do a lot with assessing sources of resilience, finding those moments in life or those tools in life that can help bring joy. And they specifically called out the arts as a tool for building resilience and helping people manage their trauma. So I just wanted to mention that. And now I'll actually hand this over to Heidi to close. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. And I'd like to just again extend our appreciation to Shauna, Sarah, and Grace for presenting today, and to the LA Arts Ed Collective, Flourish Agenda, and the LA County Department of Arts and Culture for this series and their support helping bring it to all of you. We'll be emailing you a brief survey. I did also put it in the chat, so feel free to click that link. Otherwise, you will also receive it in your follow-up email, and your feedback just helps to ensure that we continue to best serve our community. We do have some upcoming trainings and workshops I do want to quick mention. The third session in this series is March 27th. And then we have our March Hope series, and then April and May Hope will also be posted on our website soon. So we hope to see you at one of those or all of those sessions. And I really hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next month.